हरि ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करभावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste friends. Team Param Vedanta welcomes you all to session 2 of Mananam series. In our last session, Dr. Hegde Sir gave us an introduction to Kathopanishad. Today, he will take up the first 19 mantras of chapter 1, Valli 1 of this beautiful Upanishad. The first chapter, which consists of 29 mantras, is all about the background story. The way the story unfolds and leads to Brahma Vidya is very interesting. In this first Valli, the Upanishad presents the ideal conditions for the teaching of Atma Vidya, indirectly providing the qualifications for the student and the teacher. It also glorifies the knowledge. Later, we have a teaching quiz prepared and presented by Dr. Anupama, and this will ensure we will consolidate our understanding of these 19 mantras explained by Dr. Hegde Sir. Now, let's listen to Hegde Sir first. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Venkateshji. Sadashiva-samarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidyacharya Nachiketa Cha. In the last class, we discussed what this series, what is Mananam all about. Mananam is the second stage of Vedantic sadhana following Shravanam. That means when we listen to the teacher, some doubts crop up. And unless those doubts are clarified, we are not going to consume a knowledge with doubts. So therefore, it is an intellectual process of removing doubts, in Sanskrit called samshaya nivrityam, about the teachings which have been received during Shravana. So Mananam is a process where we convert the intellectual knowledge into a firm conviction, into a firm understanding, into something that has changed the perspective with which I look at myself and the way I look at the world. In the last class, we also discussed what do you mean by Upanishad. The word Upa means going towards a guru. Ni means to many meanings. One is Samipe. Upa means Samipe, going close by. Ni, one meaning is Nischaya Jnanam. Also, it means to sit down at a lower level. Shad has got multiple meanings. One meaning is destruction. And destruction of what? Destruction of ignorance, destruction of samsara, destruction of jivatvam, and all forms of bondage. Adi Shankara, when he was giving his commentary, spent a long time to give the breakup of the word upa, ni, and shad. He spent a lot of time on this word shad dhatu, how the root shad has three meanings. One meaning is visharana. Visharana, that we always said, to destroy all forms of limitations, to destroy ignorance, to destroy a sense of jivatvam, that I am a limited being. So the Upanishad's job is to destroy ignorance, sense of limitations. Gati, that means the Upanishad is one who takes you to Brahman. Our sadhana is to loosen the grip of samsara. So all these three things are given there. We began with this very, very beautiful Shanti Pata. In fact, this Shanti Pata is not only chanted during all the Upanishads of Krishna Yajurveda, that includes Taittiriya. In fact, whenever there is a get-together of Vedantic students, this prayer, oh, may we be protected, let us enjoy what we do, let there be prayatnam, let there be no quarrel amongst us. This is the normal meaning. But I want to highlight the subtle meaning, which Swamiji says it asks for jnanam. How does it ask for jnanam? The highest form of protection is to understand that I am Atma who does not need any protection. So therefore, this prayer asking for Sahana Vavatu means for Jnanam, for Brahma Vidya. That means I am Atma Brahma. Sahana Bhunaktu means to live the life as a Mukta Purusha. That means I am enjoying every moment of my life because now I know that there is nothing to do, nowhere to go. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. My spiritual life or my worldly life is complete. Krita krityosmi, I have nothing to do. And dhanyosmi, I'm so blessed because I have understood my true nature. There is, of course, prayatnam. What is prayatnam? What is the effort that you do? A Jivan Mukta does not sit quiet. A Jivan Mukta is constantly striving to help people around to be happy. That is why one of our work should be to bring in as much happiness to as many people is in as many circumstances as possible. The role of a Jivan Mukta Purusha. That means even though we may not be Jivan Mukta, but there is Brahma Vidya in all of us. With this Brahma Vidya, our efforts is wherever, whenever possible to bring maximum happiness to maximum number of people in all these situations. And of course, let there be Shraddha, that what my Guru says and what my Veda says, I have 100% truth. This was the background so far. Now, let us look at the first 19 mantras in today's class. This Upanishad in English, sometimes we call it Kathopanishad. Actually wrong. The Sanskrit pronunciation is Kathopanishad. When I first heard this Upanishad as Kathopanishad and I heard the story, I thought it was named Katha Upanishad based on this most beautiful story. Of course, in today's class, we all of us know the story, so I will not be talking too much about this story. We will see the story as the words of the Upanishad go on. But then just like in the Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter gives us an introduction to who is the teacher. We have the most amazing teacher in the form of Yamadharmaraja. Normally, somebody whom we fear today now has become a Brahma Vidya Acharya. And we have the greatest reverence to a Brahma Vidya Acharya. So there is a change in perspective with which we see Yamadharmaraja. The first the story here is primarily to bring about the greatness of Brahma Vidya, the rarity of Brahma Vidya, the importance of Brahma Vidya, what qualifications I need to have. So throughout the first chapter, when we are listening to the story of Nachiketa, can we be like Nachiketa as far as the required qualifications? Indirectly, in the first chapter itself, and in the first 14 mantras of the second Valli, in the first chapter, will bring about the qualifications of the teacher. So, greatness of Brahma Vidya, introduction of the teacher, introduction of the student, qualifications of the teacher, qualifications of the student are brought out. Now, how does the story goes? The story introduces a certain yaga is going on. It is called a Visvajit yaga and performed by a person called uh, Vajashravas. Vajashravas. Adi Shankara gives the description. Vaja means Annam. Shravas means one who becomes very famous because of Annadanam. But then Adi Shankara says, maybe that is his name. Now, just because somebody's name has a certain meaning, it need not necessarily be so. But here is the context that that Vajashravas was doing a Viswajit Yaga. And in the Viswajit Yaga, the important component is Dhanam. And the Dhanam is where you have to give everything. You, including the house that you live, you have to give in the form of Dhanam. The story also talks about a little boy who was less than 10 years of age, and his name was Nachiketa. Nachiketa was watching the whole process, and he had extraordinary qualities. I began by chanting this prayer, which Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidyacharya Nachiketa Secha. Now, in this Upanishad, every class we will be chanting this. That means Nachiketa is taken as a Brahma Vidya Acharya also. That is the kind of reverence we have. Why? Because all our teachers want us to be like Nachiketa, to have that Shraddha, to have that selfless nature, and to embody the qualifications required for Brahma Vidya. So here was a little boy. He was watching what his father was giving, and to his amazement, he found that the father was giving cattle which is not worthy of being given as a gift. And he feels that his father is doing something wrong, and something overwhelmed him. He did not want to hurt his father, but he asks a question that you're giving away everything. To whom are you giving me? And his father ignores him once, twice. And when he says three, for the third time, his father gets very angry and he says, I give you to death. And the boy is a little upset. Why my father got angry with me? And then he wants to fulfill the words of his father. Although his father tries to dissuade him, he tries to say that, you have uttered these words and we have to fulfill these words. And this part of the story is not clear, that how this boy in the same body manages to reach Yamaloka, to the world or Swarga, or the higher world where Yamadharmaraja stays. But the story goes that when he was there, Yamadharmaraja was not there, and the boy had to wait. And being a very ardent person, he refuses food, he refuses all hospitality, and he is there for 3 days, 3 nights without food, without uh, even taking proper rest. And when Yamadharmaraja realizes there is a guest who has come and was waited for 3 days and 3 nights, uh, out of his magnanimity, he treats him like an atiti. And atiti is very important in our country. The word atiti, tithi means time. The one who has not told you that he is going to come at a particular time or date. He's not given you that he's coming at this time or date. And he gives him Pada Puja, and then he says, for the 3 days and 3 nights that you have to wait, I will give you the 3 boons. So let us now go to the words of the Upanishads and see how we can understand this whole Kathopanishad. This is the first mantra. Now, the Veda mantras begins with, this whole Upanishad begins with Ushan Hai, Ushan Havai. The word Ushan means desiring. It is not specified desiring what. Now, when you have the word itihasa, the word ha means it happened, thus it happened. So, this is a story telling us, thus it happened. Now, so it could be partly fictitious, partly facts based on Vajashravas, somebody who is famous for his Annadanam. Dadau, he was giving away what? Sarva Vedasam. So, as part of the Visvajit Yaga, he was giving everything. He had a son named Nachiketa. So, this was a Sakama Yaga because he wanted to acquire Punya to go to the heavens. And when the process of Dakshina was given, and Niyamanasu, this boy was overwhelmed with Shraddha. Suddenly, when he saw something wrong being happened, the boy was full of Shraddha. Aviveshatam. He was possessed with Shraddha. And Saha Amanyata. He thought in the following way. So these are all the words of the Upanishad. So the Upanishad is giving a story that Vajashravas was doing a certain yaga. He had a little boy called Nachiketa. Nachiketa saw something going wrong, and what was wrong was the cattle that he was giving was pitodaka. That means it had drunk the last drop of water. It did not have the capacity to eat any more grass. It had been milked for the last time. Nirindriyaha, that means it had no capacity to reproduce. And when you give a danam like that, the boy knew that his father, now this is a sakama yaga. In a sakama yaga, you have to do all the practices in a correct way, especially the whenever you're giving your dakshina. And because the dakshina was wrong, it is possible that his father may go to joyless loka, ananda nama. He will go to those places which are uh, ananda nama, those places where uh, ananda means happy, ananda means where there is no joy at all, and which means hell. He did not want his father to go to such a places. So then he asks, Tata, kasmai dadasi mam, to whom are you going to give me? Not once, dvitiyam, tritiyam. He asks 3 times. And it is said out of anger, his father said, Dadami tvam mrityave, I give you to death. So this was the word of his father, uttered in anger. But then the boy thinks, and he thinks in a following way. See, I have been good as a student. Most of the time, I have been among the first. I have not been bad. Why did my father send me to Yama? And Yama is a devata. What service will I be to Yama? So, this was the thought that was going on in his mind. And he reasoned, maybe it is because of the anger of my father. And he duly agrees. And then this verse, the sixth mantra, talks about a certain discussion between the father and the student, father and son. Now the father tells the son, see, I did not mean it. But the boy says, but you have uttered it. And he says, Anupashya, see how our forefathers lived. They have always fulfilled any word that they have kept. Even in present times, people keep their word. And he says about death and life, just like vegetations, plants will come, they decay and die. So too, we also decay and die. Now, this is the wise words coming from the little boy. Although he has to go through death, he says, people will die and they will be born again. So let us not give too much importance. Please permit me to go. So that was the permission of the boy. So he says, Nachiketa says that his father must keep his word. Dharma is an important prerequisite. How he reaches Yamaloka, we do not know. And the story was that he had to wait for 3 days and 3 nights, which demonstrated that the boy had tremendous amount of titiksha, and which is an important prerequisite for Brahma Vidya. Now this is the Upanishad is continuing the dialogue. When the Upanishad is now saying how important it is to be able to treat an Atiti. Now, Atiti should be treated as God, because if an Atiti is not properly treated, when a person an Atiti should be treated like fire god. Vaishwanaraha. When a Vaishwanaraha comes to your house, you have to treat him well. And if you do not treat him well, you can have great problems. And that is why Yama, when he comes back, his family says, Hara Udakam, please fetch water to be able to quench the fire that what Nachiketa is. And the Upanishad continues the dialogue. What happens if a alpamedasa purushasya, that means if you are not so intelligent, if you are not a proper host, if you have not been able to treat a guest properly, what is going to happen? Asha pratikshe. That means all your hopes and expectations can be destroyed when a guest is not properly treated in your house. And if a person goes anashnan, he has not been able to drink water or food in your house. Now, if it happens, so that is why in our tradition, whenever a guest comes, the first thing is there is a tradition to offer some water and offer him something. So it is all based on these Upanishadic stories. So in the Bhashyam, Adi Shankara gives a lot of description of what happens, and he describes what is the meaning of the word Asha. Asha means hopes regarding the future, which is not based on knowledge, but we all always have aspirations and hopes. And it is said these are some 10 things that can be destroyed if you don't treat the guest properly. That means all our hopes are destroyed. Pratiksha means when I do a certain karma, when I do a certain activity, I have a certain expectations. That expectation is also gone. Right now, we are all in satsanga. And whenever we are in satsanga, a certain amount of punya is born. Even that punya can be destroyed by when a guest is not properly treated. Sunurta, that means whenever you speak well, even good speech produces certain punya. Ishtam means all forms of religious activities that produce punya. Purta is various forms of social services. Putra and Pashu, that means they can be harm to our children and to our cattle, and if a guest is not properly treated. And that is why, as a method of avoiding all these things, Yamadharmaraja offers him 3 boons. So that is how the story begins. And based on these 3 boons, we have the whole of the Kathopanishad telling us that there are 3 important boons that we have to fulfill. One is called Pitrarina, the other is Lokarina, and Acharyarina, based on the first boon, second boon, and the third boon. Now these are the words of Yamadharmaraja. Mantra number 7. He says, Yad avatsasi. You have stayed here, me grihe, in my house. Tisra ratri, for 3 nights you have stayed here. And what kind of a person you are? You are a namasya atiti, a worshipful, adorable guest, anashnan, who has not been eating. Namaha astu. I offer my prostrations to you. And it is said he does pada puja and vrinishva. Please choose Trin Varan Prati. You have the choice of any 3 boons that I will offer you. Now, these are the words. Mantra number 10 is the words of Nachiketa. And he addresses Yamadharmaraja as Mrityo. And now see, whenever a boon is given to you, and see the greatness, the first boon, the boy thinks of the emotions his father is going through. Because of the father's mistake, he has lost his son. And what kind of emotions his father might be going through. So he says, my father, Gautama, yatasyat, can he be like before? How? Shanta Sankalpa. I want him to be free from all anxiety. Vita Manyuhu. There was a sort of anger. I created a lot of anger in his mind. Can Vita means free from Manyuhu? Can he be free from all anger? Now I'm very keen about his mental state. Sumanaha. Can he be kind-hearted? Now he goes one step further. In his first boon, he's asking, although I am right now in the jaws of death, I am in your hands. Uh, I am looking forward to going back to him. I need your permission to be able to go back to him. Pratitaha, when I go back, he should be able to recognize me. And among the three boons, this is my first boon. What is my first boon? That when you release me from the jaws of death and I go back to him, let him be kind-hearted, let him be free from all anger, let him be able to recognize me as before, and let him be in the peace of my mind. And that is the first boon that he is asked. So the first boon that we all have to do is to take care of the welfare of our parent, and that is what is called Pitrarinam. And what does Yamadharmaraja do? Now, one word answer, if I can say, it is Tatastu. And he says, Pramuktam, from me you are released. Mrityu Mukhat, from the jaws of death I release you. And Pratitaha, your father will recognize you. And he uses the word Uddhalaka Aruni Gautama. In the Upanishads, and if I can take you to Chandogya Upanishad, there is another Gautama Uddhalaka Aruni, and whose son is Shvetaketu. Now, these are two fathers and son stories, and both of them have very similar name. So he uses all these three words. When you go back to Gautama, Uddhalaka, and Aruni, he will recognize you and he gives you some more blessings. And he says, Mat prasrishtam, he will be blessed by me. Exactly what you asked. Vita manyuhu, he will be free from anger. And shayita sukham, look at that blessing. He will be able to sleep ratri in peace. Your father's, his night will be, he will be able to sleep peacefully, yata purastat, and he will be just like he is to you, like before. So the first boon is fulfilled. Now we go to the second boon. Now the second boon is talking about Swarga. Now we should know about the various lokas. Now the loka that we are living, now to understand the second boon that Nachiketa is asking, we should know about the various lokas. What are the various lokas? The loka we are living in is called Bhuloka. The lokas above are called Bhuvar Loka, Suvarloka, and that is also called Swarga, and there are four lokas about that: Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. Satyaloka is what we call is the seventh heaven or the highest loka. Sometimes it is also called Brahmaloka. For Vishnu devotees, it is also called Vaikunta. For Shiva devotees, it is also called Kailasa. Kailasa can refer to Satyaloka, Vaikunta, Brahmaloka, or the seventh heaven refers to that. Now, in all our discussions, we should see what are the loka we are talking about. Nachiketa did not want his father to go to the lower lokas. What are the lower seven lokas? Sometimes Swamiji will be uttering these words. It's called Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. So now, from verse number 12 till about verse 19, till the end of today's session, it is all a discussion on the second boon itself. And before asking the second boon, Nachiketa gives a little prelude, a little bit of introduction to Swarga Loke. What happens? Asti, na bhayam kinchana. There is absolutely no fear. And he's telling it so boldly. He says, Na bibeti, nobody is afraid. Tvam na tatra, because you are not there. And there are something called 6 urmis. The 6 urmis are, there is no ashanaya pipasa. As far as the body is concerned, the body will have the process of aging and death, jara and maranam. The urmis that affect the body is jara and maranam. The prana is affected, that means our prana shakti has ashanaya and pipasa, hunger and thirst. And for the mind, there is shoka and moha. And Nachiketa says in Swarga, all these things you would have crossed over. You would have, tirtva means to cross over, jaraya, aging process, ube, both. Ashanaya, pipasa, shokadika, modate, and people are able to rejoice. That means people are free from hunger, thirst, sorrow, delusion, aging, and death. In Sanskrit, Ashanaya, Pipasa, Shoka, Moha, Jara, and Mrityu. Now, this is what most people want. And Nachiketa in the second boon is also not asking for himself. He's asking what majority of people want. And let us see how he will frame his question. O Mrityu, he says, you know, Sahatvam Adeshi, you know about that Agnim Swargyam, that ritual, Tvam Prabhuhi. Can you reveal that to me? Vrine Yetat, this is what I seek. Dvitiya Varenyam, from the second boon, I want to know from you that ritual that will help most of our people in this world to be able to go to Swargyam. Now, to understand the next set of mantras, we have to get the clear meaning of the word Agni. The word Agni has got what is called Vachyartha and Lakshartha. Vachyartha literally means fire, but here there is a certain Lakshartha, there is a certain specific meaning. Throughout, we have to look at the specific meaning, but the specific meaning, Yamadharmaraja will be using the word Agni, but we have to understand, is he speaking about the specific fire which is kindled in a specific manner, chanting specific mantras in a specific place? This is one meaning of specific fire. Most of the times he's referring to a specific ritual, which later Yamadharmaraja will name it after Nachiketa. It becomes known as Nachiketa Agni. So to attain that specific higher lokas, that ritual is also called Agni. And what is the specific deity? Virat Devata or Vaishwanaraha. So the word Agni has got multiple meanings. Now, this verse, mantra number 14, it is the reply by Yamadharmaraja. Now, how do you know whether it is? Because these words will not say Yamahu Vacha or Nachiketa Vacha, but by going by the context, you should be able to understand these words. Prajanan Agnim. He says, yeah, I fully remember. Swargyam, that ritual that leads a person to heavens. Pravimi te, I will clearly teach that to you. And he says, Nibodha tat, I want you to learn it. Ananta lokaptim, that which helps you to attain to the heavens. Again, I'm repeating the same thing. The word Agni has got three meanings. One is the Vachyartha. Vachyartha literally means fire, but the Lakshyartha here could mean a sacred fire, that sacred ritual, and also a sacred Devata, which is also called Virat. Sometimes it is called Lokadim, because he was there even before all the lokas came into being. And Brahma Jagna means the one who is born out of Brahmaji. Brahmaja, that means one who's born from Brahma. And Jna here means Sarvagna, because he is a Devata, he knows everything. So the next few verses we have to understand where is this Agni coming from. So, Uvacha Tasmai. So now this is now the Upanishad is telling us. Now nobody is speaking. It is the Upanishad, the Sutradhara. The Upanishad is telling that how Lord Yama reveals to Nachiketa Tam Agni, that fire, Lokadim, which is the foremost in this world, Ya Ishtaka. He says, what type of bricks? Yatava, how many of them? Va, yata, and how. So the whole process, actual process is not described, but the Upanishad is describing how in mantra number 15, how it was mantra number 15. And it also says, Yamadharmaraja asks Nachiketa, did you understand and can you repeat it? And he says, Yathauktam, exactly as he taught him. This little boy had an excellent memory. He was able to repeat word for word what was taught. And then Yamadharmaraja was extremely pleased. Tushta asya, being so pleased, he repeats. Mrityu says, and he was priyamanaha, being so pleased. Mahatma Yamadharmaraja says, Dadami Tvam, I will give you an additional, not a boon, I'll give you a gift. There is a difference between a boon and a gift. A boon is something that you can ask. A gift is something that he gives. And he gives you, what is that gift? I'm going to give you a certain gift. And what is that gift? He says he wants you to accept. He says, from Ayam Agni, this fire, Bhavitaha, in future, Tva Namna Eva, it will be named after you. Your name is Nachiketa. It is going to be named as Nachiketa Agni. In future, the same ritual is going to be named after him. In addition, he says, Grahan, please accept Aneka Rupam. And Vittamayi Shrinkam, he gives the most precious jewel that he was wearing. So symbolically, a great jewel he takes out from him and gives it to Nachiketa. Of course, giving a jewel is understood by Adi Shankara. Now here is a little boy who is asking for knowledge. Is he going to accept a jewel? And for a student who's asking for Vidya, he says, what is the jewel? What is the best thing for a person he can give? He says he gives him what is called all the karma gatis. That means all the various forms of karmas that will help you to attain to not Swarga, but to attain to the highest loka. He not only teaches what Nachiketa asked, because Nachiketa, what he asks will take you to Swargyam, but he teaches you various upasanas that can take you to the highest loka, to take you to Brahma loka. So this is what he offers him. 17, 18, and 19 mantras are the Upanishad talking about this particular ritual which is now called Tri Nachiketa. Now, if you do this ritual 3 times, now this ritual has been taught, and Nachiketa has studied this ritual. Now, this ritual, if it is done, how? If it is done 3 times and through a certain sandhi, tribihi sandhi. What are the 3 types of relationships and 3 karma krita? Now, it is said if you have to do the benefit of this ritual is not just doing the ritual, but it is doing it 3 times. Who is doing it? And if you are able to do 3 things, what happens? Tarati, the person is able to cross over Janma Mrityu, and the person is able to get Atyantam Shantim. He's able to get the highest amount of peace. Now, it is able to describe what are the 3 Nachiketa and what are the 3 Sandhis. It is said there are 3 important relationships that all of us must have. And that is the relationship between your mother, father, and the Guru. And the 3 karmas that we need to do is regular prayer, scriptural studies, and dhanam. That means if I'm able to do yajna, dana, tapaha, have proper relationship with my parents, that means I have good psychological basis. I do these 3 karmas every yajna, dana, tapaha, and scriptural studies, and do this ritual 3 times, a person is able to attain to the highest loka or Brahma loka. We come to verse 18. Verse 18 is a repetition of verse 17, which says viditva, having known, yetat trayam. Repetition, he says this 3 Nachiketa, one who does this ritual 3 times, Saha Vidwan. Saha Vidwan means along with the upasana that was taught to him, he crosses Shokadika, he goes beyond sorrow. Modate Swarga Loke, he is able to rejoice. This verse says that if you have to attain to something, to Brahma Loka, you have to be able to, you die even before you die. All these are sort of a preparation that you will have to be comfortable to be able to die before you die. Why are we studying all these Upanishads? Why are we becoming familiar with the teacher Yamadharmaraja? It is the hope that we are not going to be afraid of our own death. That means if death is something that we do not fear. There is a little story that I would like to share. It is a story of a certain Indian businessman who travels to Africa. He finishes his business work early and he has a day's extra time. And his local host tells him that outside the city, there is a place where you have talking parrots. Would you like to see? He says, yes, I will be very happy to see it. And he's amazed to see parrots actually speaking in English. And then he says, I have never seen anything like this in our own country. Is it possible to take one of these birds? Somehow they are able to capture one of those birds. And he takes his bird back to India. And being an African bird in India, he takes good care of him, gives him the best of fruits and best of nuts. A year passes, then it's time for him to go back. And he tells his bird, I'm going back to meet your friends. Is there some message that you have? So he says, go tell them I'm happy in my cage. So he goes back to his place. He finishes his business, but now he's very keen to go back and meet those birds. And when he gets a chance to meet all the birds, the first thing he says is, a year ago, I had taken one of your friends from here. He has a message for you. Do you want to hear? He says, yes. What is it? He wants to let you know that he is happy in his cage. Listening to it, the bird falls down dead. And now he is extremely sorry that one of the birds, listening to his what he thought was good news, a bird falls down dead. And with a heavy heart, he comes back to India and he repeats the same message to the bird. And listening to that, the bird in the cage falls down dead. So feeling very upset, he opens a cage door, takes the bird out, and the moment he takes the bird out, the bird escapes and sits on a high perch. The man looks at the bird and he's very offended and he says, why did you escape from me? The bird sitting on top, he says, my friend in Africa gave me a message. Do you want to know what it is? He says, yes. And he says, if you want true freedom, you must die before you die. These verses up to the 19th mantra in asking for the second boon and Yamadharmaraja granting the second boon is a process which will help us to be comfortable with our own death. That means if you want true freedom, you must die before you die. And the concluding mantra says, this Agnim Swargam has been taught to you. And this has completed the third boon, and I want you to ask you for the third boon. With this, we have completed today's, and let us have a little quiz to see how much we have understood. The quiz will be asked by Dr. Anupama. Dr. Anupama, please.
Thank you, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. We have had a very fascinating lecture now. It shouldn't be difficult, I suppose, to answer these questions. Let's try. So in verse 7, we read this verse, Vaishvanaraha Pratishati Atiti Brahmano Gruhan. So just fill in the blanks with the words in the block below. This verse refers to which of the Pancha Mahayajnas?
It should be Manushya
Yajna.
Yajna, service to fellow human beings.
That's right. And failure to perform this yajna incurs which papam?
It is Pratyavaya Papam.
That's right. A Brahman guest, they say, is a manifest of which devata?
Vaishvanara Devata.
Yamadharma Raja was asked to fetch water, hara udakam, to do
To do Pada Puja for the guest, for the Atiti.
Vaivasvata is another name for?
Yama Dharmaraja.
That's right.
Please repeat the answer as part of a teaching quiz.
Okay. In this verse, we had the context when Nachiketas was waiting outside for 3 days, and Yamadharmaraja tries to avoid pratyayaya papa. So the verse here refers to Manushya Yajna of the Panchamaha Yajnas. Failure to perform this yajna incurs pratyavaya papa. A Brahman guest is a manifestation of Vaishvanaraha, that is Agni Devata. Yama Dharmaraja was asked to fetch water, Hara Udakam, to do Pada Puja for Nachiketas. Vaivasvatha is another name for Yama Dharmaraja because he is the son of Vivaswan or Surya Bhagavan. In this verse 12, we have seen Swarga Lokena na bhayam kinchit nasti. Why? Nachiketa says, Na tatra tvam, because you are not there. He's telling Yama Dharmaraja. That was audacity. He says, Na jaraya bibheti ubheti tvaya ashana pipaya se. And shokadi gaha modate swargaloke. So he is describing his concept of swargaloka, why people should get to swargaloka, and he wants Yamadharmaraja to give the sadhana to achieve this swargaloka. So what does this boon indicate about Nachiketas?
His selfless nature is not asking anything for him. First boon also is asked for his father. Second boon he's asking for the community.
That's right. What are the glorious aspects of Swargaloka that we pick up from this?
There is no fear. There are no 6 urmis. That means there is no ashanaya pipasa, no hunger, thirst. There is no jaraya of mrityu. And then there is no shoka, moha.
That's right. And why does Nachiketa ask for a means to access Swargaloka?
Because most people want higher planes of enjoyment experience. That is what most people are asking for.
Yes, that's right. So Nachiketas, we now understand that he is selfless. With his first boon, he had fulfilled Pitra Runa, and now with the second, Loka Runa. The glorious aspects of Swargaloka are na bhayam kinchana, no fear at all, because Yamadharmaraja is not there. There is no time factor. Na bibheti jaraya, there is no fear of old age. Tirtva ashana pipase, no hunger, thirst. And modate swargaloke, one can rejoice. Nachiketas asks for a means to access this Swargaloka because it is a goal of a majority of us human beings. Next one, please. So, Nachiketa says, Swargaloka amritatvam bhajante. This is what he tells Yamadharmaraja. People can enjoy immortality in Swargaloka. If this is true, why seek Jnanam and go through the more difficult path of Jnana Yoga?
Jnanam is the only way for true immortality. All others are only relative immortality. In Jnanam, we understand that you are already that. So there is no need to seek for immortality. It is not a sadhyam, but it is a siddha vastu.
That's right. Although he has used the word amritatvam, we must understand immortality here as relative. In Mimamsa Shastra, they say that these seemingly contradictory statements do appear, but the logically sound interpretation always holds good. Swarga Loka Prapti being a karma phalam has to be the end product of a process which is finite. Therefore, Swarga Loka is also finite, and immortality here should be interpreted as relative and not absolute. As we just heard, the word Agni here has 3 meanings: a specific fire kindled in a specific manner, located in a specific place, or Agni could mean a specific ritual which is used to attain Swargaloka. Agni could also refer to Agni Devata, which is also called Virat or Vishwarupa Ishvara. Now, there are a few phrases which I have picked up from various verses. Can you please interpret the meaning of Agni in these? So,
Go
in
ahead.
13, this is what Nachiketas tells Yamadharmaraja. He says, Swa Tvam Adhyeshi Agni Swargyam. You know the what?
The ritual. He's asking for that Agni ritual.
Agni means ritual. In verse 14, this is what Yamadharmaraja tells Nachiketas. He says, Prajnanan Agnim Swargyam Bravimite.
Yeah, I remember very clearly the ritual only.
That's right. This is also ritual which lead ones to heaven, and I can clearly teach you this. So, in the second line, we says, Na Ananta Lokam Aptim Pratishtam. What is the meaning of that, Agni?
It is Devata, the one who has established all these lokas. It is the Agni Devata or Vaishwanara Devata.
And what is that in the next line? Agni, which is Guhayam Nihitam.
Yeah, the fire in the heart should be again the Devata that we invoke in our hearts.
Okay.
Agni Devata.
That's right. Next slide, please. You have answered. Do we need to go through this?
Please go through.
Okay. So the Swatvam Adhyeshi Agni Swargyam. So Nachiketas is telling Yamadharmaraja, you know the fire ritual which leads one to heaven. Here, Agni means fire ritual. Then Prajnanam Agnim Swargyam Prabravimite. So here Yamadharmaraja is telling Nachiketas, I remember that Agni means fire ritual which leads one to heaven, and I shall clearly teach you. Ananta Loktim Praptim Swarga Lokam Sadhanam, the means. Then this Agni he describes as Pratishtam. It is the substratum of the universe. Here by saying Agni, he meant Agni Devata, also which we call Virat or Vishwarupa Ishvara. And finally, this Agni, he says, is Guhayam Nihitam. So here again refers to Agni Devata, which resides in the heart when it is invoked. Heart here means mind, in the mind of the meditators. The next slide, please. Okay. Here, Lokadim. Okay. In verse 15, we have seen Lokadim Agnim Tam Uvacha Tasmai. What is the meaning of Agni here?
Lokadim Agni Tvam.
Uvacha Tasmai.
It's the ritual.
That's right. The foremost ritual. Okay. Then, Tava Eva Namna Bhavita Ayam Agnihi.
Okay, the same ritual is going to be named as Nachiketa Agni. So it's a ritual again.
So, Esha Ete Agnim Nachikete Swarga. What is that?
Again, it's a ritual.
That's right. The rest of it is ritual.
Clear? That's it, no?
Yes.
We'll proceed, no?
We'll proceed. So, Nachiketa Agni will lead one to heaven only if one has which of the following? Knowledge, faith, experience, Pratyaksha Pramana, or Atmajnana.
The word should be Shraddha or faith.
That's right. So he says, Shraddha Dhanaya Mahyam in verse 13. Next one, please. See, by performance of Nachiketa ritual, one can attain the lower heavens. How can this ritual be enhanced to attain Brahmaloka? Can we do it by increasing Shraddha and Bhakti, by performance of Pancha Mahayajnas alongside, by Virat Upasana, by Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, or by becoming a Jnana Nishta?
It is by additional of Upasana. Here it is Virat Upasana combined with the ritual.
That's right. That's right. So they say that, no, you had described this verse, Brahma Jagnyam Devam, Brahma Jagnyam, the son of Hiranyagarbha, Devam, Idyam, worship him, Viditva Nichaya, Imam Shantim Atyantam Eti. Okay. So, who or what is Virat? Which of these? Is it Vishwarupa Ishvara, Brahmajam, Agni Devata, Samashti Stula Prapancha Sahita Chaitanyam, Is it consciousness inherent in the macrocosmos, or is it the macrocosmic universe blessed by consciousness? Lokadim Devata, born before the arrival of 14 lokas, Vaishvanaraha, or all of the above?
Should be all of the above.
Yeah, these are the various names for Virat. So, this is a bit controversial. Madam Rama had some disagreement. Where is Virat invoked? Is it in the mantras, in the samadhi, in Agni fire, or is it the goal of the ritual, or is it in all our activities?
In the Agni fire ritual.
That's right. So, just as we invoke Shiva in the lingam or Ganesha in turmeric, that means we are moving from Pratima, the human form god, to Pratika. So that could be one interpretation, but Madam Rama did not agree. So I did a reference and found out that it is also Agni Devata, which you invoke in the mind. So it's say Virat Drishtva, as one with himself. This man is not a jnani. He does not have Atma Jnanam, but he can Atma Bhavena, it is described. The Upasaka can meditate upon as Agni being identifying with the Virat. Okay, this is called Abheda Upasana or Ahangraha Upasana, something similar to what we had seen in that Hiranmaye Patrena, where that man is an Ajnani, but he says, Yo asau vasau sohamasmi. He makes an aikyam without being a jnani. So I think Madam Rama was quite right. So now three Nachiketa, which you have explained now in detail, one who invokes Nachiketa 3 times along with Virat Upasana crosses over Janma Mrityu cycle. So the benefit of this ritual depends upon the way it is performed and also the general lifestyle of the person, the character of the person, Shraddha Bhakti, his achara, etc., ideal relationship with the parents and teacher, performance of puja, yajna, adhyayana, dhanam, or all of the above.
I think this is a nice question because it is all of the above. The whole verse is summarized in this.
That's right. That's the end. Now, the benefits of Nachiketa Yajna along with Virat Upasana are, please decide whether it is true or false, Janma Mrityu Tarati.
I think it is false.
Right? Can be true because it is not Jnanam. Then Apekshika Amritatvam Prapnoti.
Apekshika means relative. So relative Amrita, true.
Yes. Brahmaloka Prapti.
True.
Atyantam Shanti Eti here.
In the relative world, true.
Yeah. Moksha Prapti.
False.
Mrityu Pashan Purataha Pranodyate.
It's true. You are free from the shackles of Yamadharmaraja.
Swarga Loke Modate revels in Brahmaloka.
True.
He is now a Jnani.
False.
That's right.
Do you want to repeat it?
No, I think it's quite clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hegde Sir, for taking us through the journey of Nachiketas to his guru, and Anupama Madam for that wonderful teaching quiz, which consolidated our understanding. Thank you, friends, for your total participation. Coming Monday, on 25th of July 2025, let's tune in for 11th session of Drigdrisha Veka at 6:45 p.m. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you, sir.